for you to change career paths and decide, I'm going to do this because I made a commitment, is another huge thing. A lot of times we sabotage ourselves, right? Because we're like, well, we can't do it. It's not going to work. Or why would I do it? It's too late. I'm too old. All of these things. And for you to do that is huge.
Don't need you. Tell me what I can and can't do. I'm in charge of what I feel. It's just a game I play for fun, but I already...
Hi, my name is Amie. Like, comment, and subscribe to Lux Media Studios. They are awesome.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Loving Your Life, Be Authentically You with me, Amie. I am so excited to have you here. And if you liked that song that was playing before, that is my daughter, True Istina, TRUE_ISTINA.musicofficial on all the platforms. And go listen to her. She's got new music coming out. She's got new music videos coming out. And we are super, super excited about that. So go check her out. Also, check out the vodcasts that we have. We've had so many that we've been letting out. I think this is number 9, and I'm really excited about it. So please check that out as well. And if you're looking for a happiness coach, I'm your gal. I'll help you. Go to thetruehappiness.com where you can actually get me for coaching, and I will help you to help be in alignment to just be in your true happiness. Everybody has their own happiness, and I want to help you find yours. It's not about the outside world. It's not about anything that what's going on. It's internally, because things can go really bad and we have to stay internally truly happy. So check me out at thetruehappiness.com. But without further ado, I have an amazing, amazing guest, and I'm so, so excited to have her on. She's been an inspiration to me. She has helped me through so many things, and I am truly grateful to call her my friend, and just, I adore her. So this is Giovanna Mosconi, and
Giovanna.
Oh my gosh. I said Joanne, okay. Giovanna. Okay,
Maybe
Giovanna.
In my lifetime, I'll be Giovanni.
Giovanna. This is being authentically myself, right? It is. I'm sorry. Giovanna Mosconi, and Italiano, and I love it. My parents also speak Italian, and so it's awesome. And your dad is an Italian chef. And so I want to hear all about what you do and, what you've done, because I've heard a little snippets of it, but I'd love to see that. And I love the fact that you're so truly authentic and raw and real, because that is so hard to come by. And that's such an inspiration for all of us here to really step into our authenticity. So I would love to hear about that.
First of all, thank you. You're so amazing and beautiful and authentic. I thought that from the first day I ever laid eyes on you. So if you're going to get a happiness coach, this is your girl. We became friends because of her smile. I know I need to say that. We were in a booty burn class, and I was like, whose smile is that? Like, I want to smile like her. So, and she always has it on, no matter what's going on in her sphere and her world. And it's such a pleasure to be a guest on your beautiful show. So thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And you're asking me the hardest question. What do I do? Because I think I'll sum it up in one word. I'm a storyteller. I'm fascinated with the art of storytelling. And in my 20s and early 30s, what that looked like was I was a playwright, producer, and theater director. And I did a lot of children's shows as well. I love working with kids. And when not before COVID even happened, you did say my dad's an Italian chef. And that meant I grew up in the kitchen, and I love cooking. And I always hated eating at my American friends' homes when their parents would pull out a jar of sauce and just pour it on top of pasta. And I was like, how am I not going to be rude? So I developed an interesting relationship with food and the appreciation for it. And so even though I was a theater professional, I was always in the kitchen, no matter where I was in LA, in my parents' home, at a friend's home, any chance I could get behind a stove. So cooking, I will say, is in my blood, just as much as storytelling. I think we tell stories through cooking. And back in 2014, I was in Los Angeles and I got a phone call. And my brother lives in New York. And when you get a phone call at midnight in New York, you pick it up. I knew I was going to hear something bad. And my brother was a little too calm, so I even knew it was worse. And he had told me my dad had a heart attack. And my dad's like a bigger than life personality, could never imagine this situation. So I flew to New York. And as soon as I got in the room, I heard machines going off. The nurses were asking me to leave. And I literally thought this was it. And I remember thinking to myself, oh my God, I might never see my dad again. And the fear that set in. And luckily, he was fine. He survived. It took a while. When you have a heart attack to the degree he did, the rehabilitation took a while, but I was by his side. I stayed in New York City, and I made a promise to God one night while he was sleeping. And I said, if he recovers, I need to write his recipes. My dad is a legendary chef in New York, and I was living in Los Angeles doing my theater and my storytelling. And my mom and brother tried to write his book, but my dad's absolutely impossible because he's a New York City chef and he doesn't want to slow down to give you his recipes. So I kind of knew the promise I was making to God. I was like, this is, I'm asking, I'm going to do something big in return. I'm going to do the impossible as well. And he survived. And then, you go back to life easily. It's amazing. Something bad happens and we get so worried, but then all of a sudden it becomes okay and we forget and we go back into life. And about 2 or 3 months later, I was in Greece with my husband, fiance at the time. And I said, oh my God, I made that promise to God. I need to write my dad's book. And he said, we'll do it. So I spent time in New York and it was impossible. I was kind of like my mom and brother. I was ready to throw the towel in. He never set enough time aside, but I realized I was committed to finishing this project. And maybe it didn't look like what I thought it would look like. I thought we were going to be drinking red wine and placing out the ingredients and having this like calm storytelling process because he survived his heart attack. No. I realized the only way I was going to get this done is if I became a professional chef and went to culinary school. So I took a break from my theater, moved to New York City, enrolled in French Culinary Center at the young age of 37. I was the oldest in the class. And I got my ass kicked, Amie, to become a culinary school professional. It wasn't what I thought. I was thinking I was going to be like Julia Child in that movie, Julia and Julia, in France, having baguette snow. They were like screaming at us to pick up. So it was one of the most challenging things in my life. It was hard and amazing, but hard. I really had to work hard at it. And I really just invested 6 months of my life into the world of culinary school. And when I finished, I was a trained chef and I went back to the restaurant. I was like, andiamo, which means let's go, let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah. And I followed him and I was able to follow him at his pace. And it still took me a while. It took me another 2 years to get all the recipes down and the entire story. But in 2019, my book came out and it was called The Chef of Greenwich Village because our restaurants are in Greenwich Village. My dad's on the cover and I couldn't wait to present him this book. I put the video on Instagram. When he saw the book, he's he's an immigrant. He always calls himself a little boy from Italy. He's an immigrant from Italy that never, ever imagined he'd have his own book. It was probably the greatest thing I've ever done, just to give that to my father, who gave me everything. He was hysterical crying. They put us on a lot of the New York news stations because I put it on Instagram, and I guess people were very touched by his emotion. Yeah. And from there on in, we started showing his recipes on Instagram. And I started getting asked a question all the time. Are you really eating the food you make, specifically the pasta? Because you don't look like you eat the pasta. And I kind of got annoyed by that question. I was always like, why would people ask me that? And one day my husband said to me, that's your next project. So what do you mean? He said, everyone's asking you that. Your neighbors are asking you that. People obviously have a different relationship with eating and pasta than you do. So I then kind of shifted and started trying to show people how to enjoy. And I know you came to my house one night for dinner, and I loved that you're European and you were able to do that, sitting at a table and really enjoying good food without guilt. So that's kind of what I do now. And I think, you know, I gave you that whole long story, but I story tell, but I really want to inspire people to spend time with the people you love while they're here. Don't write the books when they're gone. Do it while they're here. Make that time, shift something in your schedule, because you're never going to regret it. I will never regret spending time with my dad in the kitchen. And then don't be afraid to change. Like, don't be afraid to do a little career shift in your 30s or 40s or 50s or 60s. If something's calling to you, listen to it, go with it. And then finally, life is short. Eat pasta, drink some wine, enjoy, you'll be okay. You know, don't take it all so seriously, and let those simple pleasures become guilty things. So that's really what I do right now.
Wow. That is a beautiful story. I had never heard that.
Really?
So I really like that. No, I
I
didn't
usually
know all
don't
of
tell
that.
my story because I always think no one's really going to care.
That's amazing. There's so many beautiful moments in that. For instance, okay, working with your dad is beautiful to have those moments and then create a book for him. I mean, that is so precious. That is incredible. For you to change career paths and decide, I'm going to do this because I made a commitment
Mhm.
is another huge thing. A lot of times we sabotage ourselves, right? Because we're like, well, we can't do it. It's not going to work. Or why would I do it? It's too late. I'm too old. All of these things. And for you to do that is huge. That's a huge inspiration. So
Thank
for
you.
you to do that and also do your passion and what you love, that's what I'm feeling from you.
Believing Before Seeing, a new bestseller by Candace Barr. Order your copy today.
Thank you. And, you know, it's so interesting that you said that. I also think it's important to make the distinction. You know, anytime you start something, the idea of something is much more fun. I know, listen, I was in the acting world. I worked with lots of actors. The idea of being an actor sounds much greater than what the reality of being a working actor is. Like, once people realize, wait a second, I have to do all this stuff to become a working actor, all of a sudden it loses its excitement and glamour, right? The idea, like all the things you have to do. So I think commitment is freeing, because when we're not 100% committed, you're kind of stuck in that, well, I said I was going to do it, but it's too hard, and you're overthinking. And at least when you're committed, even when it's so hard, you're not giving yourself that option to say, I'm not doing it. You know, I mean, and then you don't have to deal with the inner dialogue of, well, it's too hard, and maybe no, you're committed, and maybe it's not going to be easy, but you're still committed. So that was a distinction I made writing that book, you know.
Wow. That's, yeah, that's beautiful. And like I said, that's hard for people to do. That really is
Very
hard
hard. It
for,
was hard for me to do.
you know, to go through that. I want to write a book too. My parents, of course, are in Croatia, and I would love to write a book for them. My dad will be turning 90. It's his 90th birthday in March. Yeah. And so I'm going to be over there seeing them with the whole family. I'm super excited. And I want to hopefully write a book for them too. And like you said, do it now. Like, this is the time.
If not
So
now, you might miss out, you know.
exactly. Exactly.
Time is not, it's our greatest gift. Time, you know, it's our most precious possession. It's the one thing that we can't get back again. So
Exactly.
that really is something that hit home for me, in just terms of like how I live life now, because you just never know when something's going to happen. And I don't think on our deathbed we're going to regret the family time. You know, like, we might regret that we spend more hours in the office, but we won't regret these little moments that just, they're magical, you know?
Yeah. The beautiful memories.
Mm-hmm.
I think when something happens, we really change our mentality, you know, to just say, well, what is important? And a lot of
Yeah.
people really focus on career and on the finances and all of this. And yes, we need that to survive. But again, what's that really going to give you at the end of the day? We never know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yep.
So
You're right. And the key is to remember that moment, because I know that when life starts going back to normal, it's so easy to forget. So I'm that one of those people that when I start finding myself forgetting things I went through or blessings that are in my life, but so life is occurring, I try to like step back a little bit because it's so easy to forget, you know, it really is, and go back to old ways and maybe not make that time and start thinking like we have all the time in the world again. It's funny how the human brain does that when things are going well. It's when things are not going well that we're more in tune to it.
That's true. That's true. And it's like, okay, I'm not feeling good. So now I got to start doing, you know, being more grateful for this or see this differently or these little blessings. No, do it now. Do it now. I think it's so important.
Yes.
So I wanted to touch on something else, which I think is so beautiful. Your posts on Instagram are so, so, so inspiring. And
really? Thank you.
they are. They really are, because
Oh,
you're so raw and real and vulnerable.
Thank
So
you.
how are you able to stay in your true authenticity? Were you always like that? Or is this something that you've had to develop? I would love to hear your story on that.
Was I always true? I feel like me being truly authentic looked different at different times. I was always really shy as a kid and as a teenager, very, very insecure. I remember being in school, I would always get the report card where I had all good grades, but then class participation, I didn't have a good grade in, and my mom would come back home and she would say, the teacher says you don't open your mouth. And once you become that person who doesn't open her mouth, people label you that way. And I remember like when I did open up my mouth, my voice was really meek and small. I didn't know how, so I don't know if that was me being authentic at that time or just responding to these feelings I had of being afraid that people were going to make fun of me or being afraid I wasn't good enough. I think that's why I went into acting coaching, because performers need to be so vulnerable. And I felt that I was someone who was so nervous, even though I loved storytelling. I was so worried what people would think of me. And don't, you know, I've overcome it, but there's times I'm posting on Instagram where I'll look back at something, a recent bathing suit shot. I have a new book about staying in shape. So I would like to put myself out in a bathing suit in order to make that point. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm 45 years old. I know that there's friends in New York who are probably saying, what is she doing? And as soon as I catch myself saying that, I'm like, this is the growth. This is the lesson here. Who cares what they're saying? And if they're saying that, it's because you left a little imprint. You're giving them something to talk about. So now I just learned to change the dialogue. I don't think the feelings ever go away. I just think we evolve and we're more prepared to do something about it. So I have all these little inner voices. As soon as my critical voice comes in, and it comes in often, I'm sure you're an artist, you know that as well, that anytime we write something or put something out there, we second guess it. And then my nurturing voice comes in. It was the voice I needed to hear when I was younger that I didn't have. And it's more like, good for you. You're taking a little bit of a risk. Too bad some of your friends don't do that. Put it out there and see what happens. And you never know who needs to hear it. And the people that actually respond to my Instagram are not my friends. They're not my, listen, I don't know who's going to listen to this, but I'll just say it. My sister-in-law blocked me on Instagram. So, you know, and if she listens to it, you shouldn't unblock me. But like family support and sometimes in friend support, the ones you think who are going to. And then I kind of got comfortable with that. I was like, well, I didn't create Instagram for my friends and family to applaud for me. I did it to connect with others. That's what my brand is about. So I kind of changed my relationship, because even that made me insecure. Like, a family member is blocking me on Instagram. What am I doing? You know, and you could see like, maybe I should stop this. And then what it does is it makes you even tougher. And I have messages from people that I've never met before that have said to me, like, I haven't talked to my dad, and your story made me like make that phone call again. And that's why I do it, you know, and those are the people that continue to make me go. And, you know, and I shouldn't be so hard on my friends, because if they want to contact me, they don't need my Instagram. They can just call me. But I remember in the beginning, I was like, oh, it'd be nice to have a little more support from the people closest to us. And you realize that that's just that's just my journey. It has nothing to do with them. So I don't know if that was a good answer, but it was a real answer, because it's very frightening putting yourself out there on Instagram.
It is. It absolutely is. Yeah, that's what like I said, I admire about you, is because you do. And you even talk about your vulnerabilities within it. You even talk about, what you're going through. And that is so beautiful to see, because even like the same thing with me, I was talking about things and people are like, oh, you're saying too much. You're telling people too much of your life and this and that. But I'm like, well, if I can help one person, or if somebody needed to hear it or something, or I felt like I was supposed to in my heart, then I'm going to do it. And I really don't care what these other people say. You just have to block them out, because it's not their life, it's our lives.
That's
But,
right. That's right. And there are no rules in life, whether you should be private or public. Like, there is no rule that says that you shouldn't be putting your stuff out there versus you should be. And all those people who are saying that to you, interestingly enough, are on Instagram watching accounts. So like my whole question to them is, if it's weird for you, why are you so interested in watching it? And that's what helps me as well, where I kind of just, I become super connected to the fact that if you're not posting on Instagram, they're going to be saying something else about you. Yeah, that one, she doesn't do anything. She's lazy and stays at home. Like, she could be putting her book out there. Somebody's going to have something to say regardless. So do it anyway. Block out the noise. And it's easier when you get older to be more secure about that. Because I always say, if I was a teenager or in my 20s, I don't know if I'd be posting this kind of stuff.
It's true. Second guessing everything. And I think that's a big thing. When I got the cancer diagnosis, it was kind of that type of thing where I was like, now it's my time and I have to be authentic. What do I have to lose, basically? And then I thought, well, here it is. This is Amie. Take it or leave it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. If you do, great. I want to be a part of your life. And usually the more that we do that, and the more we step into our authenticity and our beauty and who we are as a woman and a person, even a man, the more that we step into it, the more people are attracted to us that vibrate at the same level, that are the same type of people, that resonate with us, and that we have, it's a camaraderie, and it's so beautiful to see. And the other people are like, they just kind of move away. I've noticed that.
I hope you're getting support with this beautiful podcast you
you
created, because I know how vulnerable and how honest you are and authentic. And I think this is going to help so many people. As as somebody who's been a part of your journey, you have cancer, but it doesn't define who you are. You're an artist, a mother, a friend, a lover. You're so many things. And I think that could really help people who are coping with it right now. So tune in, people. This girl is a magical force.
Thank
Behind
you.
that smile is this brave, courageous, incredible woman that we're so lucky to have. I really mean that.
Thank
I'm
you.
going to cook for you again.
Oh, I love your food. It was wonderful. It was wonderful. Absolutely. I'm very honored to have you in here. And I'm honestly mean it when I say you started my journey in the fact of me talking to you and you're like, Amie, there's something. And I felt it and you knew it. And it was just how everything just kind of came to fruition. And it really is amazing how miracles happen like that. And how I met you and how I met Brooke and just how everything even came to fruition has been beautiful and a blessing.
Well, the way I heard about you had to do with your smile too. Brooke, our friend, Brooke Burke, I work with her and create menus. I should have stated that. She's gonna be like, you didn't tell people that? I create menus for her app, but she called me up one day. She's like, there's this woman. She came into class and I'm so drawn to her. And I'm like, could this be that this woman is this, like maybe Brooke is exaggerating. And then I felt the same exact way. You really are a magical lady, Miss Amie.
Thank you. Thank you.
I miss you. I want to hug you.
Oh, I know you're too far away. I know. Well, I'm so excited. I have to wrap it up, but I am really, really excited having you here. And I want to have you back because I know there's so much wisdom that you have to offer the world, and you're so beautiful inside and out, Joanne. And I really do appreciate it more than you can imagine. You really mean a lot to me. So
Thank you, Amie. You always leave me better than you find me. I was not feeling so well today, and now just being around you made me feel better. So thank you. And I'd love to come back anytime. We have so much to talk about. Amie and I talk about everything. So choose your topic.
everything under the sun.
We really do. I don't know if we could talk about all the things we talk about.
Absolutely.
Stick to food, maybe? No, I'm kidding.
Well, so everyone, thank you so much for joining us. This will be on Wednesday. Super excited. Yes, we're so excited. Also, go check out Brooke Burke Body for sure. Her app. Go check out. You can go to classes. Just look
You
at
can work
her.
out live with us on Fridays. You need to do that one day on Zoom. I'm gonna make sure that we have you in Zoom class. We do Friday Zoom class.
Okay, I
You,
absolutely.
Brooke.
Absolutely. And you do Q&As.
Your Q&As.
Okay.
Yeah. I try to
Yeah.
always tell people to eat a little pasta after the workout. I don't know if they think I'm crazy, but just
Yeah, have a healthy relationship with food and just enjoy it, live your life and just body, mind, and soul alignment in true happiness and authenticity. When you do that, you step into the light and then you can really live in a beautiful light, basically, and be happy. So again, thank you so much for joining me, everybody. I hope you guys have a beautiful, beautiful, blessed, glorious day. And I will talk to you guys again next week.
Don't need you. Tell me what I can and can't do. I'm in charge of what I feel. It's just a game I play